Touchdown, Alabama, let's get it.
The process, no one can stop this. Hottest show in the streets, I bet you can't top this. Rammer, jammer, yellow hammer, come see how we rock this. Alabama fans the best, there's no way you can top this. Recruiting news and interviews, just sit back and watch this.
Recruiting news and interviews, just sit back and watch this.
Welcome into the process, Crimson Tide Recruiting. I'm your host, Justin Smith, the scouting and recruiting analyst of Touchdown Alabama magazine. This is Tuesday's show. We are attempting to start this week off shows with a bang as I'll break down some of Alabama's can't miss targets in the 2021 recruiting class. Personally, I'm not a big fan of the term of can't miss targets because I believe you pull in the guys that really buy into your program. You win based off that team concept. I really believe in the team concept, and I think it's a concept that football is really based off. So I'm not a big fan of the term of can't miss targets, but I am going to break down some can't miss targets for Alabama in the 2021 recruiting class in terms of guys who Alabama's coaching staff is really pushing for, kids who, if they were to commit to another school, Alabama's coaching staff would be like, dang, we really missed out on a kid that we really wanted to add to our 2021 recruiting class, a kid who we think would have flourished under our leadership right here at the University of Alabama. So I wanted to take a look at some of those can't miss targets for Alabama in the 2021 recruiting class on this episode of The Process. But before I dive into that, I do have to keep you guys updated on everything Alabama football recruiting. So that's what I'm going to go into next, some recruiting updates that have surrounded Alabama football over the last couple of days. So with that being said, let's get the process started. Well, let's dive into a couple of these recruiting updates. Alabama's coaching staff has pulled in another commit, as you guys know, in the 2021 recruiting class, a four-star safety Kane Williams out of Louisiana by the way of John Ehret High School in Louisiana. You guys can check out Kane Williams' commitment profile on touchdownalabama.com. You guys check out our breakdown video of him on Touchdown Alabama's YouTube page. You also can check out my interview with his dad, Carlin Johnson, as he broke down what led Kane Williams to verbally commit to the University of Alabama. He talked about Alabama's head coach being a factor. He talked about Alabama's academic system being a factor. And he also talked about how their visits went and what they felt when they visited the University of Alabama 5 to 6 times in the past. So you guys check out that article on touchdownalabama.com as well. I will include the link of that article in the description of this video, so you guys check out the article, my interview with Kane Williams' dad, Carlin Johnson. Alabama was also listed in the top 5 for 2021 5-star athlete JaQuincy McKinstry. I think this is not a huge surprise for any Alabama fans. Alabama's coaching staff has continued to recruit, continued to push for JaQuincy McKinstry. I think this top 5 really paints the picture for some of the other teams that are really fighting for McKinstry's recruitment as well. As I said in the past, I always knew that Auburn and Clemson was around, but he also included Georgia and LSU in his top 5 as well. So Auburn, Clemson, LSU, Georgia, and Alabama looks to be the 5 schools that are really pushing for JaQuincy McKinstry at the moment. I think it's going to come down to more of an Alabama, Auburn, and Clemson battle. I think Clemson is a sleeper in JaQuincy McKinstry's recruitment for several obvious reasons. Clemson has come into the state of Alabama and pulled in some impressive prospects of the last couple of recruiting cycles. So those are the teams McKinstry is heavily considering moving forward in this recruitment. Alabama's coaching staff is also still extending offers to several prospects, especially prospects in the 2022 recruiting class. One of their more recent offers went out to 2022 4-star wide receiver AJ Johnson out of Louisiana. This offer came from Alabama's defensive coordinator Pete Golding. I think this is a special offer, especially when you consider the fact that Johnson did not play a single snap during his sophomore season due to the fact that he transferred schools, and inside the state of Louisiana, if you transfer schools in certain regions under certain circumstances, you would have to sit out that year. So Johnson had to sit out his entire sophomore season, but he had to continue to pick up offers from Georgia, Miami, and Florida State coming in over the last couple of months, and Alabama is the most recent school to offer him. I got a chance to catch up with Johnson, and he told me that he really looked up to former Alabama wide receiver and current Atlanta Falcons wide receiver in Julio Jones. He told me that Julio Jones was his idol growing up. So this is a kid who really has respect for the University of Alabama and some of the athletes that they have been able to produce. You guys check out my interview with AJ Johnson on touchdownalabama.com as well. I will include the link of that article in the description of this video as well. So Alabama's coaching staff is continuing to extend offers. We will continue to keep you guys updated on all of that on touchdownalabama.com. But now I'm going to dive into some of those can't miss targets for Alabama in the 2021 recruiting class. As I said earlier in the show, I'm not a big fan of the term of can't miss targets, but I do feel there are some guys who are somewhat can't miss targets because they are usually inside the state of Alabama. Kids Alabama has shown a lot of interest into, kids who Alabama has really laid out the red carpet for up until this point in their recruitment. So I wanted to take a look at some of those guys on Touchdown Alabama's YouTube page, and also just break down the latest, because most of you guys who've been following the process, staying updated on everything Alabama football recruiting, you pretty much know most of these guys. You have heard of them in the past if you don't know too much about them. So I'm going to break down some familiar faces for most Alabama fans, especially those Alabama football fans that really follow recruiting, those die-hard recruiting fans. So I want to break down those guys. And the first guy is an easy guy who I talked about earlier in the show, 5-star athlete JaQuincy McKinstry. You have to put him in that. The latest in McKinstry's recruitment is pretty much what I talked about earlier in the show. He released his top 5. You get a chance to see the other schools are really pushing for him very hard. But one of the reasons I put him in the mix is the fact that this is an in-state kid for Alabama, residing in Pinson, Alabama, in the Birmingham area. He's very close to the University of Alabama, so you know he has grown up, especially kids growing up that are currently juniors and seniors and upperclassmen, especially the underclassmen in high school. They have really grown up watching Alabama dominate under Nick Saban, so they have a lot of respect for the University of Alabama, and they're going to give their just due to the University of Alabama. Visit the University of Alabama, give Alabama a good look. And I think the defensive back position is a position Alabama has constantly pulled in 4 to 5 guys over the last 3 recruiting cycles, and I think JaQuincy McKinstry is a kid who really could fit into Alabama's defensive scheme. A kid I think who can come in and make an immediate impact, and I'm pretty sure Alabama's coaching staff is pitching that to JaQuincy McKinstry. Has told me that Alabama has made him feel like a priority throughout his recruitment. He has an opportunity to play both football and basketball at the next level at the University of Alabama. So with Alabama constantly wanting to bring in the top defensive backs in each recruiting class, this is one of the reasons I feel McKinstry is a can't miss guy. He's also a can't miss guy because this is a kid inside the state of Alabama, a kid who basically checks 2 boxes just off what I just said. And he also checks that third box, which is the most important box to me. I feel this is the most pure prospect the state of Alabama has produced in a long time. This kid is a special athlete. Just his athleticism just jumps out on tape. If you ever get a chance to see him on person, you can just see his athleticism just jump out to you when you get a chance to see him. And I think it's really something that's sort of hard to explain. This is a kid who could easily play wide receiver at the next level, be a threat in the special teams game at the next level, and also be a cornerback, possibly play safety. He could play anywhere on the football field in terms of his skill position. Of course, he had to add on some more size. He doesn't have the size of the frame to play linebacker or anything, but he has that athleticism that's kind of hard to explain. So JaQuincy McKinstry is one of those can't miss guys. Terrion Arnold is the next guy I will put in this conversation, because this is a kid who told me, Nick Saban told him when he was on a FaceTime call with him, that you are the #1 defensive back on our board. And I think it doesn't get any bigger than that. You guys check out when Arnold told me that on the process on Touchdown Alabama's YouTube page. But it doesn't get any bigger than that, getting that type of praise from possibly the greatest football coach of all time. And I think Arnold does take that serious. I think that is something that Nick Saban does not just throw around. Although the recruiting process is a revolving door, you meet so many different kids, but I don't think Nick Saban throws that around lightly. So I think Terrion Arnold is going to take that to heart and really evaluate that when it comes to him evaluating all of his options. But this is a kid who I feel is a can't miss target for Alabama just based on that. I think Nick Saban telling him that, and multiple members of Alabama's coaching staff continuing to reach out to him, showing that they really like him. I think that really speaks to him really speaks to him being a kid that Alabama does not want to miss out on in the 2021 recruiting class. But as far as his recruitment is concerned, he has constantly stated no team leads in his recruitment. He's keeping everything 100% open. Everybody has a chance. He's taking things completely slow, making sure he makes the right decision, not really following the hype or anything like that. Just making sure that he makes the right decision for him and his family. So I think Alabama is in a good position for Arnold. As he said on multiple occasions, he's taking everything very slowly. Tim Kennan III out of Ramsey High School in Birmingham, Alabama. I think this is a kid who is a can't miss target for Alabama for several reasons. One of those reasons is the fact that this is an in-state kid, and Alabama kids, there's no reason to go any more in depth into that. He's an in-state kid. You want to keep your top in-state kids inside the state of Alabama as much as you can, as much as possible. But when you look at Tim Kennan, I think he's a can't miss target for Alabama just based off what he can do on the football field. This is a really mature defensive lineman at 300 pounds. This is a kid who can really move very well for a 300-pound defensive lineman. He's also someone who has been trained to use his hands at an early age. He's very mature in terms of using his hands. You can tell he has a wide range of hand movements in his repertoire. So you really like that about Tim Kennan, a really mature defensive lineman. And I also think he's a can't miss target for Alabama in the 2021 recruiting class, just based off the success that they have had from getting guys from the Birmingham area at the defensive line position. Going back to Quentin Williams and Deron Payne as of late, those guys had huge seasons at the University of Alabama, went on to the NFL to be drafted very high. So I think Tim Kennan is, of course, he's looking at that. This is a guy who really takes that Birmingham reputation to heart. He really wants to be the next big defensive lineman from the Birmingham area. He always talks about the putting on for Birmingham. So I really like Tim Kennan. I think Alabama's in a good position with him, but he has constantly stated he wants to wait until National Signing Day to announce his decision. He's taking everything completely slow. Alabama has hosted him countless times. They got him on campus for one of their junior day events. So Alabama's in a good position, but he has said he wants to wait all the way until National Signing Day before he announces a decision. I was sort of hesitant to put the Brockemeyer twins in this, with them being a Texas legacy. Their dad went to the University of Texas, also was drafted into the NFL as a first-round draft pick as an offensive lineman. So they have a lot of family ties to the University of Texas. Their older brother is also a current member of the Texas Longhorn football team. So it's a lot of different things going on in their recruitment in terms of their connection to the University of Texas. But I'm going to put them in the mix because the offensive line position is a priority position for Alabama in the 2021 recruiting class. Alabama's coaching staff has constantly stayed on these guys. Nick Saban FaceTiming them multiple times. Alabama's offensive line coach Kyle Flood zooming calling them almost every week, at least one time a week. So Alabama's coaching staff has remained in contact with those guys heavily. And when I got a chance to interview their dad, Blake Brockemeyer, on the process a couple of episodes back, you can tell that they really are giving Alabama a good look. He was able to rattle off some of Alabama's recent NFL draft stats in terms of the offensive line position. Just talk about some of the things the University of Alabama has to offer its student athletes. So you can tell they're really giving the University of Alabama a good look. And if Alabama was to land these guys, this could possibly be a package deal in terms of the twins possibly wanting to go to the same school. Of course, they have an opportunity to go different ways, as they are two very good prospects in their own right individually. James Brockemeyer is one of the top centers in the nation. Tummy is one of the top offensive tackles in the nation. Of course, that can happen. They can go their separate ways, but there's still a possibility that they could go to the same school, and Alabama could possibly pick up a package deal in terms of a position where they need some depth at the offensive line position with the amount of offensive linemen they may lose at the end of next season. So possibly pulling these guys in, you could pull in one of the top centers in the nation, one of the top tackles in the nation. So that's why I feel they are among the can't miss targets for Alabama in the 2021 recruiting class. Of course, you can go on and on. There are plenty of other guys still on the board. I wanted to just provide 5 guys I know for a fact guys I feel that are can't miss targets for Alabama in terms of positions priority, in terms of them being in-state kids, in terms of them being kids who Alabama's coaching staff have shown a lot of interest in. That would do it for this episode of The Process. Thank you guys so much for joining me right here on Touchdown Alabama's YouTube page. Go ahead and subscribe to Touchdown Alabama on YouTube while you're here. Then head over to touchdowналabama.com. Pick up that subscription. Get your hands on our yearly print magazine issue. Get your hands on the opportunity to read all of our subscriber-only articles, all of our recruiting scouting reports, and all of our in-depth draft projections. So be sure to subscribe to touchdowналabama.com. Download the Touchdown Alabama app. Stay stay updated on everything Alabama football recruiting and everything Alabama football related on the go. You guys pick up that app on the Apple App Store and in the Google Play Store. So be sure to download the Touchdown Alabama app. As always, I am Justin Smith, the scouting and recruiting analyst for Touchdown Alabama magazine.
Watch this.